Alright guys, and welcome to another video. So many people in the community have been speculating if TBC Classic launches, will it in fact launch with fresh servers? So let's talk about the positives and negatives of fresh servers. So the biggest concern in the community right now is the economy is extremely different in Classic WoW compared to what it was like in vanilla. These days we have better botting technology to exploit more and more gold out of the game. Plus mages have the knowledge of extremely bountiful gold farms. This means that a lot of people are simply much richer now, definitely much richer than they would have been in the original vanilla. And obviously the more gold on a server generally means the bigger the auction prices will be for items that are required to craft Spell Strike, Frozen Shadow Weave, all of these really useful essential pre-raid best in slot gear, and even things just as simple as flasks, potions and buff food, which will have a negative effect on the more casual player who doesn't have the time to farm loads and loads of gold. Basically me. And I'm not making this video to have a little bit of a selfish moan, because I do read a lot of the comments on my channel and it does seem like a lot of people just simply don't have vast amount of time to play Classic WoW anymore and are a little bit worried about the gold inflation for TBC Classic. So one of the big positives of playing a fresh server would be the total economical gold reset that would inevitably happen. Everyone would also have a very even playing field when it comes to gear. I've just recently made a video about why certain Nax gear is incredibly strong and will be strong in TBC raiding, and what will probably happen is it will slightly trivialize Burning Crusade raids and just make them way too easier, even though they already are probably going to be pretty easy. So that could be a big negative. However, if people are jumping into Karazhan with, green and blue gear, it will be considerably more challenging and fun. So overall, I think playing on a fresh server, you would actually get a little bit of a better raiding experience. You'll also have the advantage of making a Draenei and Blood Elf at the exact same time as everyone. It will encourage more people to actually re-roll to a Shaman or a Blood Elf, or roll a Draenei or Blood Elf alternative class, which means there will be way more balanced setups when it comes to raid compositions and more race variety for each and every class. I don't know about you guys, but it is getting a little bit stale seeing every single rogue and warrior playing a human. And because the population of that server will be split between all of the individual races, it will provide a much smoother launch because the entire server won't be trying to jump into the Dark Portal all at once, which means less layering on the server and less layering exploitation. Now let's talk about some of the potential issues that could come with a fresh server. First of all, these servers are going to be absolutely rammed and overpopulated with people. So many people want fresh servers. Especially the private server community, who you should definitely not underestimate. The private server community is really big and they are used to re-rolling on fresh characters every single time a new TBC server is launched. So these servers will likely become too overpopulated, which inevitably means huge queue times and mass frustration. Unless they actually release a good amount of fresh servers at the launch of TBC Classic, which is, if you look at the Classic WoW launch, probably very unlikely. They were very, they're gonna balls it up, that's what I'm trying to say. And if they allow people to transfer their characters to these fresh servers at a later date, that might mean that current servers with already low alliance or horde populations will get worse and worse, and then, we'll have more Flame Lash situations and Arcanite Reaper situations where these servers will eventually die. Honestly, I don't think fresh servers are very likely, because I think Blizzard will just have a continuation of the current servers now into TBC Classic, and that'll just be the way it goes. What we could do as a community, however, is actually create our own fresh server by rolling on some of the very low populated servers. So there are a number of low populated servers both on the EU and the US sides. What we could do is actually just re-roll onto those servers. You can actually just have the freedom to, as a community, make a totally fresh server by rolling on a server that's already pretty empty. And yeah, obviously there's going to be like a couple hundred people who are level 60 on that server who will, start at level 60, but if we come together as a community, I think it's the closest thing you're ever going to get to a fresh server launch. And if we actually work with the people on that server, maybe they won't continue leveling their level 60 character and just, level from fresh with everyone else to enjoy the fresh server experience. Who knows? Maybe we can talk about that in the future. I've gone a little bit off the script here. So anyway, my name is MetaGoblin, and to my next video, ciao.